I am Frank SUNIL JUSTUS, working as an associate professor in Department of Business Administration, ANNAMALAI University. Today we look at an topic, change management, as part of the series of lectures for the course Organizational Behavior. So what is change? Change is any alteration in the work environment that affects the ways in which employees must act. So you would have all known in the early 90s, when we go to banks, we had people using huge ledgers. You'll have to wait for a long time. They'll give you tokens and everything. You have to sign. The sign has to be very precise and everything. So by mid 90s, they went for the computerization. There were a lot of strikes. Employees were not willing to accept computerization because change at many times will not be palatable. So this change may be planned, unplanned, catastrophic, evolutionary, positive or negative, strong or weak, slow or rapid, and stimulated either internally or externally. So what is unplanned change? What is catastrophic change? Okay, some 2 years back, two and a half years back, when we had the first COVID pandemic, what happened? There was lockdown. So we had to even close schools, colleges and everything to stop the spread of the disease. In 2004, when there was SARS epidemic in China, they had shifted to online mode. Again, during the typhoon in US, that particular part of America had shifted to online mode. So this should have been a lesson for all the other countries. Everyone should have been ready for an online mode in case there is an outbreak, but I don't think any of the countries were ready for it. So we had to wait for some time before we entered the online mode. So this is something between planned and unplanned change. So in an industry, you have to keep on embracing change. There were many industries that could not face the onslaught of globalization. When other country products were being sold in India, they couldn't compete. There were companies which competed and became market leaders. So both the things happened. So the role of a manager is to be proactive. What is being proactive? He has to anticipate events, he has to initiate change, he has to take control of the destiny of the organization. This is one part. This is the organization part. On the HR part, the manager has to maintain group equilibrium and has to make personal adjustments to all the upsets that happen because of the change. So when do we first face change in our life? We say change is something that we embrace in our life, but when do we need to face change on the first occasion? So the very first breath that a baby takes once it is born is a totally different world for it. It was till then living in a different world. The very first breath is where the baby embraces change in a very big way. So change happens the moment you are born. So what is group response to change? When I was in the industry, I had to be part of a manpower reduction process. So we were in the process of introducing 2 days off from 1 day off, and when we give an extra day off per week, we need extra manpower. No organization will be willing to spend an extra money for it. So they thought they can reduce manpower in certain areas. For instance, we in compressor house we had 2 manpowers. So, we thought we will make it 1. So, likewise we try to combine certain areas where the work was minimum. So, 2 days later when I went to finance department, they inquired if there will be a change in finance department, if there will be a manpower shift in finance department. So, a change that occurs in production department gets reflected in finance department. So, this is called group response to change. I will give you a small example. Take the case of a balloon, a fully blown balloon. You just try to prick one end of the balloon. What happens is the shape of the balloon in that particular part will get dismembered, or it will change in that particular part. What is unknown is that the air molecules in that particular region would have shifted to some other regions of the balloon, which means the dimensions of the balloon in other regions would have changed, but will not be visible to us. So, this is called group response to change. You make a change in one area, this change will be visible across the entire spectrum, but might not be visible. A teacher enters the classroom and shouts at one of the boys. As far as the teacher is concerned, he has shouted with only one boy, but the whole class will understand it in a different way. Everyone will feel that the teacher has shouted with each one of them. So, that is a kind of group response to change. If you in an industry, if you shout at one employee, it will have a very big effect on all other employees also. Overall morale might come down. So, this is called group response to change. So, here I have shown a narration by John Donne. The spellings will be different because it is a different language. It is a simple passage which just shows about humanity. No man is an island entire of itself. So, he just says that no man is an island who can live alone. Every man is a part of humanity. So, whatever happens to humanity whatever happens to him is also part of humanity, and whatever happens to somebody else is something that happens to him. So, he says that it does not make a difference if a small mass of land in Europe gets washed away or if a big chunk of land gets washed away. He says Europe will be lessened by that piece of material that has been removed. So, and he finishes it with a line that actually in England during those days there will be a bell, the bell tolls when someone is dead. So, people will go to the church to find out who is that person. So, he says that there is no point in going and finding out who that person is. The bell tolls for you. It is not someone else, it is you also. So, he typically brings out the concept of group, that is you are part of humanity, whatever happens to someone else happens to you also. So, change, while introducing a change, you have to be very careful with the group response. So, this is just an advertisement for Camelin, but still this talks about change.
What this organization desperately needs is change. Easily erasable.
I don't want anyone to understand change this way. There is a whole team that has understood change in a different manner. So, can we be able to bring out a change in our work? Are we able to make our work interesting? So, here I give you another video. So, this is about the rat pickers of a place called Ankara in Turkey. So, these are all rat pickers, these are all garbage cleaners. What they did is, out of the garbage from the waste materials, they developed their own musical equipments. As also from the garbage, they picked up valuable books. They put it in a place which later became a very interesting library. And this is one of the most popular band in Turkey. All their equipments are made of garbage items. Their basic job is garbage workers. But still, to make their work more interesting, they just introduce this kind of this is something to make their work more interesting. They themselves undertook a process of change to make their work more interesting. So what are the methods to bring a change? There are three methods. One is called pull, the second method is called push, the third method is called pummel. What is pull? Say I go to the classroom, I tell students, everyone should come to my class dressed as if you are coming for an interview. If I create in them that whatever I am saying is true, that if they every day they can come dressed just like as they come for an interview, so that the interview will be easy. Maybe if the students get inspired, then that is called pull. Let's look at FASTag. Initially, banks called us saying they are when FASTag can be received through them. So FASTag will make your life easy in the during the toll process, everything. So that is pull. Push, government gave a date saying that before this date you have all FASTag is mandatory for all vehicles. Pummel, there was a date after which if you do not have FASTag, you will pay double the toll, which means everyone moved towards FASTag. So this is what is called as pull, push and pummel. So there was a waterfall where everyone was standing. Suddenly one boy fell into the water. So everyone wanted to save the boy. So everyone was shouting, save him, but nobody got into the water. Suddenly one old man, out of nowhere, he jumped into the water, saved the kid. He almost got drowned in the process. So then everyone ran to the old man and asked him, why did you risk your life? He said, I am looking for the person who pushed me into the water. So this is called push. Okay. So there will be three methods of change: pull, push and pummel. Next, who should change? Is it the boss? Is it the employee? So today we are talking about student-centered learning and so on. From teacher-centered learning, we are changing over to student-centered learning. So who has to make the change? Okay, I'll give you a small example. By early 2000, there was an advertisement for All Out. I couldn't get that advertisement. In that All Out advertisement, you have the All Out machine. There will be a swarm of mosquitoes which enter. The mosquitoes will sing, we shall overcome, we shall overcome. The All Out will eat all the mosquitoes. Again, a second swarm of mosquitoes will enter singing, we shall overcome. Again, the machine will catch all the mosquitoes and it will eat all the mosquitoes. That's what the advertisement shows. Finally, there was only one mosquito. This mosquito came singing, I shall overcome, but this All Out machine will catch that particular mosquito also. During this time, I was living at one particular part of my place, which is so famous for mosquitoes. Maybe it's a place that will be very interesting to people from zoology. 24/7 you will get beautiful mosquitoes of all sizes. So in my house, I had the same All Out machine. Mosquitoes happily came, happily went. Only the mosquito machine was singing, I shall overcome someday. I am not sure if it has overcome till this day. So who should change? That's a very important question. Whether the teacher should change, whether the student should change, whether the boss should change, whether the company should change. These are things which should be of very much of interest in change management. Okay. Now we move to resistance to change. Will we accept a change? Can we accept a change? Are we willing to accept change? Okay. So we have different reasons why we will resist a change. So I have given you some of the reasons for resistance to change. Some as logical objectives, political coalitions, extra effort to relearn, say from offline to virtual mode. I read so many articles which said that it is putting pressure on teachers because virtual mode is something new for them. Okay. So possibility of less desirable conditions such as skill downgrading. So people who would have been very much versatile while using the ledger might not be so good while using the computers. We've seen that the age at which the people reach positions has completely changed in banks. Economic costs of change. Question technical feasibility of change. So any change will need some technical feasibility. So these are the logical reasons. What are the psychological reasons? Fear of the unknown. So let's say you are doing a certain work at a certain place. You are now being shifted to a new place. Will you be comfortable? Fear of unknown. You do not know why you are not comfortable. Low tolerance of change. Most people will not be happy to change. Dislike of management or change agent. So any change process will involve a change agent. Who is a change agent? A change agent can be internal or external. Say in an industry, let's say you are working with some technology, they are going for a technology change. Say when I joined, we had the pneumatic systems. Then after a few years, we moved to DCS. So we had a drastic change of technology. So if there is a change of technology, there will be a change agent. We will have persons from the company or we will be taken to the company for some specialized training. So this is what you call as change agent. Lack of trust. So when there is a change, will you be able to trust people? So in industries, you will have drastic changes taking place. So will you be willing to accept the changes? Need for security, desire for status quo. So these are other reasons. Okay. Then sociological factors. Time required to adjust. So when you are shifted to something new, it will take some time before you are able to learn the new task. Opposing group values. You would have been part of a set of friends in this setup. Now you will have to be part of completely a new set of people. A narrow outlook. You would have worked with a certain in a certain manner. Now everything will change, maybe different timings, everything. Vested interest. So you will have some kind of interest in your present, the way you work at the moment. Now when there is a change, you will find it hard to accept it. Desire to retain existing friendships. So you won't be willing to leave your group to work with a new group. So this very much happens in industries. Industries will have different divisions. Over a period of time, you will be shifted to some different divisions. Now you will have to work with completely different teams. From production, you may be shifted to technical services. Here you would have operated machinery, there you will be only with a pen and paper. So you will really find it hard to accept all those changes. Okay. Look how people are introducing changes. When this iPhone 12 was introduced, it was introduced without a charger. Apple said that we don't want to put a charger into the box because we can pack 3 boxes instead of 1 in a container. So, instead of sending a set of a certain number of mobiles in 3 containers, they were able to send the same in only 1 container. They said we are saving in terms of fuel. If instead of 3 containers I send only 1 container, there is place for 2 containers which some other company will use. Because of it, the number of shiploads will reduce, and because of it, you will get a greener environment. So, this is a change. But for those who buy, you will buy the piece without a adapter. This adapter, you will have to use your old adapter, that's all. Otherwise, we will have adapter in each of our rooms. So, what are the sources of resistance to change? Individual resistance, habitual. We are habituated to work this way. Fear of unknown, security, economic factors. So, these are the individual reasons for resistance to change. What organizational resistance to change? Threat to expertise. Say I am being shifted from my present position to an absolutely new field. I may have expertise in some areas, I may not be good in some other areas, so I may have to learn. Threat to establish power relationship. So, if you are so thorough in an area, you will feel a sense of power. Now, when you are shifted to a new area, you will have to depend on others. You yourself have a limited focus of change. So, these are all the organizational reasons for resistance to change. So, this is the model of change. How should we introduce a change process? Say, as students, let's say you are used to dressing in a casual manner. Your college has got strict rules where every day you have to come in full sleeves, you have to come in ties, you have to come in shoes and everything. So, to begin with, you might not accept the change. So, this is called the 3-step model of change, Kurt Lewin's model of change. The first step is unfreeze. In unfreeze, you have to examine your present status. You have to bring out the reasons for which you have to change. You have to decrease the reasons, you have to be stated the reasons of negative reasons that might happen because you do not change. So, these are the 3 things that you focus in your unfreeze situation. The second is called move. In move, you have to make the change. We involve people. We bring out the change. Again, we maintain a positive attitude. And the third stage is refreeze. Here, your change is permanent. Once you have shifted to your full sleeves, once you have shifted to your shoes, tie, everything, now even if you go to an environment where that's not compulsory, you won't be able to backtrack to your old style of dressing. So, here we talk about desired outcomes, the reward that you drive out of your desired outcomes. So, this is what we call as Kurt Lewin's model of change. Kurt Lewin's model of change is a 3-step process called unfreezing, moving and refreezing. So, this next model of change. This is called the Kuhler-Ross model. This was designed for cancer patients, but I have observed this in regular life when I was in the industry. When I was in the industry, a compulsory retirement scheme was introduced. We call it as voluntary retirement scheme, anyhow, whether it's compulsory or voluntary. Okay. So, it was introduced and some of the employees had to move out of the company. So, there was one person, let's call him A. He was asked to give in his papers. So, he was a BOE he had passed the BOE examinations and he was selected purely for boilers. But when management asked him to put in the papers, there were plenty of BOEs in the company. He was one of the first persons to enter the company with BOE from some other company. So, what was his first reaction? Denial. This cannot be me. No one can operate the boiler in this company without in my absence. If I am not there, the boiler will not be there. Okay, that was his perception. The truth was different. Everyone over the years had become far more developed far more expertise than him in operating this thing. So, the first reaction will be denial. The second one is anger. So, after 2 days when I met him, he was just angry like anything. He just shouted at everyone. So, whether it is the co-worker or the boss or everyone, he just said that everyone is a fool to have asked him to sign the papers and everything. So, it was total anger. Then over the next period of time, now over the next few days, he stopped talking with everyone. Depression, helpless, everything. Now it moves to the next week. Now bargaining. Now he starts making trips to the boss. He tries to convince that he is one of the best. So this is the next stage. In the previous stage, he was shouting at everyone. Then there was a stage where he stopped talking with everyone. The last stage is bargaining. That's the final stage. Like you do everything to ensure that you are not asked to go to the. You are asked to sign the paper. Anyhow, everything is final. So finally, the D-Day comes and he has to go out. Then 1 week later, I met him on the road. He said, "I am very, very happy. I am happily playing with my grandchildren. This is a very happy moment of life and everything." So acceptance. So this is a kind of change process that if you look at, you yourself will be looking at in your life also. Say you will be good friends with somebody, but there would have been a change process and everything, but still you will have to make an acceptance at some point of life. So denial, anger, depression, bargaining and acceptance. So this is the 5-step model defined by Kuhler, which though developed for cancer patients is applicable in real life. So today we looked at change management. Change is a modification on the way we work. We looked at the 3 ways where we can bring about change. The 3 ways are pull, push and pummel. Then we looked at who should change, whether it is the organization, the boss, the employee. So who should change? That is very important. We talked about group resistance to change. Then we talked about the resistance to change and the change models of change. We looked at 2 models of change, LEWIN model of change and Kuhler-Ross model of change. So with this, we come to the end of the session. We will look at the next topic in our next classes. Thank you.